for life engineering, processes that combine science, wisdom, and spirituality to build a life of alignment. Joining Dr. Pat is your host, Gabriela Embon, bringing you bi-weekly wisdom nuggets, your step-by-step guidance to build a life of no regrets. Stay tuned as they uncover powerful processes for you to realize your true potential. Are you ready for some magic wisdom? Life engineering starts now.
I want to just say, Gabriela, let's just go. Both of us are so excited.
I was saying the tango is over.
Oh my gosh. We are talking about something really super important today. And it is one of these things, Gabriela, I want to ask you about this. The power of yes. You know, we started this conversation last time, but since that, I have really had multiple conversations about yes and what gets in the way of yes. Today, we're going to talk about the power of yes, the engineering of yes. Because if we look at the engineering of yes, we're going to figure out, just like any engineering, are you ready? What is working and what's not, right?
That's right. That's right. It's so much easier when we put it in an engineering context, because then we can see the process. And I believe the benefit of seeing the process is that you focus on the process rather than the results. So you let go of expectations and you invest yourself in doing things better, in growing. And that's why I love engineering so much, because it forces you to look at the process rather than only at the results or, you know, the goal, the end goal. Yeah. That's more of in a general way, beyond the power of yes. I think that's the power of an engineering process, of looking at life that way.
Yeah. And we're going to take a look at this and really break it down like you have done in previous shows, where we talk about life engineering, and we've gone through the different stages or steps, right?
That's right.
But this also applies to yes, doesn't it?
That's right. So the 4 steps we looked at from the beginning of this journey together, you and me on the Life Engineering podcast, was the vision was the first step. Then comes the design about that vision, and then how the pilot, right? Let's test it. And then once we pilot, we get more clarity. We can actually course correct and go into creation mode, full creation mode, knowing that we are always course correcting. So these are the 4 steps, and we're going to look at how do we work with the power of yes in each of these steps, right? We want to have a general direction of the vision, of course. Then the moment we are clear about the vision, even if it's, you know, we're not completely clear, we have a general idea. The moment we do that, we already activate opportunities. We activate the universe or our spiritual guides for divine intervention, right? It goes, oh, she wants that, let's make it happen. And opportunities will come. Opportunities, of course, to say yes, and some of them to say no as well. And we want to embrace those opportunities that align with the direction we're going. But what's important to understand is that these opportunities are the opportunities to say yes are very different depending on where I am in the 4 stages of the engineering. So this is what we want to do. We want to look at each step and see, how does the power of yes look like when I'm in the vision, when I'm in the design, when I'm in the pilot, when I'm in the creation. It looks a little bit different. And that's what we want to do first. Does it make sense?
It makes sense. But more importantly, you've got some examples. And what I want to say to people is, you do this every day and you do not know you're doing it. So if you're listening to this show and you're thinking, no. If you're thinking, engineer, let me tell you how we do it. I'm going to give you one quick example, and Gabriela is going to run right through it. You know how we do it? This morning, I woke up and I had a vision for what I was going to wear, but I had a vision. How did I look in front of the camera? I had that vision. So what did I do with that? I got myself ready. And let's just look at my hair for a minute. I hate to do this, but let's just do it for a minute. I looked at my hair. I had it designed. I thought the way I wanted it. So I get in there and I try it on. And I'm literally 30 seconds. This is what it took me. And I used every step in Gabriela's engineering process, 30 seconds. And I looked at it and I said, not quite the design, but let me see how it looks. Then I said, nope, Course correction. I need to make a correction. I don't really like the way that looks. I went through all 4 of her steps in 30 seconds, and you all do it every day. So I just want to drive the point home. We're not talking about some complex, although we can use it for that. Right? Now you have gone through this for something a lot more serious than my hair, right?
Well, the moment we started talking about the power of yes, and like you said, we started this conversation way before the previous podcast. Our brain starts searching, right? Starts scanning all the events, all the opportunities. We actually made things happen because we said yes. So let's start. Let's be more organized. Let's start with the first step, the vision.
Yeah.
Right. So when we are trying to figure out what we want, the what, the vision is the what, right? It's always the first step, that initial clarity. The power of yes is exercised by receiving external messages, right? Through friends, through a podcast you're listening, through a book you're reading, a movie you're watching, through a dream. You will receive messages of what that will help you clarify your what. Not messages of what you should choose, but messages that will help you clarify. Like they plant a seed. You might not see the what in that moment when that seed is being planted, but somehow that seed will grow and you will wake up one day and say, I know exactly what I want. So the power of yes is the openness and the willingness to listen to these messages and realize that if I'm listening, if I'm hearing this, if somebody is sending these messages, is because I need to receive them and being open to receive that. So you were talking about an example a little bit bigger than your hairstyle. Yes, you heard the story that I've been married for this September 26 years, but before that I canceled my wedding a month before with a previous person, with my fiance, my ex-fiance. What perhaps I didn't share is what made me cancel the wedding. What made me cancel the wedding was a message that was sent to me through a dream in which I was walking through the aisle and when I approached the altar, the person that was waiting for me wasn't my fiance. It was someone else that I knew at the time, which is my husband today. So I received that message that clarified to me what is truly my vision. And then I accepted it and I did something about it, right? I canceled the wedding. So this is where we talk. Messages to say yes come to you to help you clarify your vision, even becoming a coach. When I was so searching, what do I want to do when I grow up? I knew I don't want to be an engineer anymore. It was a friend who told me you should become a coach. And at that time, I didn't know what that is. But 6 months later, after she planted that seed, I woke up one morning and I knew this is what I want to do. So it's the power of yes. Yes, I want to receive these messages. Yes, I am open for guidance. I am in that frequency. That's the yes in the vision stage. Does it make sense?
It does make sense. And we do this and we don't know we were even doing it, but we do it.
We do it. And sometimes people will send messages that will help us clarify what we don't want. And that's okay too. We'll talk more about that at the end.
I can't wait.
So moving to the next step in the engineering of a life of no regrets, once we are clear about the vision, is the design. Now, the power of yes shows in the design phase through messages again, messages that arrive from the same sources, friends, podcasts, books, movies, dreams. But now is not about what is that we want, what could we possibly want, is how to create our vision. So now the ideas that are shared with us are helping us clarify the design. How do I go about this vision? It's about the how. We're getting ideas in the vision. We're getting ideas for the what. In the design, we're getting ideas for the how. So I knew I wanted to get to the next step after I grew my coaching practice, and I didn't know how. And then I listened to a podcast of a coach from Australia, and she shared she had started a coaching certification academy after she, succeeded as a coach, grew her practice. And I knew the moment I heard that, I just knew that this is my next step. So I knew I wanted a next step. I didn't know how. And that yes came to me through the podcast. I kept saying this year, I want to talk about marriage. I want to talk about marriage. I went to an event because I said yes, and a speaking opportunity was landed there, just like that, for this August to talk about marriage, to be on stage. So ideas. In the design process, the power of yes comes as ideas that you said yes to. Does it resonate with you? I hope it resonates with our listeners.
Well, I want to comment on this because I don't want to really blow by this. Now, I don't care how much research you do. I was just pulling up my research on this because I wanted to really be clear about this. Every study I've ever done, especially about what you're talking about yes. And by the way, yes is a promise. Yes is a psychological contract you make either with yourself or with another or with your God. I don't care, but it is a contract. And what we have now learned about this is the importance of what you just said. 9 times out of 10 in a transaction, whether you're going to tell somebody you're marrying them, you're not marrying, you're going to take the job, it's not the what that they remember. It's the how. How one does something, how one looks at something. And Gabriela, there are very few people that talk about it the way you've done, because you go through a process and you're very clear and you say, we cannot get from A to D without the how, right? Isn't that what you're saying?
That's right. And we cannot get from A to D if we're trying in A to figure out B, C, D.
No, we can't.
So I think the power of yes is also realizing that you're going to get the clarity you need in every step. Just say yes and wait for the next level to be clarified for you, for the next step to be clarified for you. And that's really when you say yes is a promise. For me, yes means I trust. I say yes, and I know that the next step will be revealed to me, whether it's a new idea or an opportunity or the clarity, it will arrive to me because I already committed when I said yes. So it's important to understand that the yes will follow you throughout the entire process. It's not that an opportunity came to you, you said yes, and now you're lost. If you said yes to an opportunity, that guidance, those messages will continue to support you throughout the process. Don't worry. That's why I always say yes, and then you'll figure it out. What does it mean? Figure it out.
Yeah.
You will continuously receive ideas to say yes to, actions to take, opportunities to embrace for you to complete what you committed to. It's not just we say yes in the beginning. We're saying yes all the
way through.
That's right.
Yeah. See, you're not talking about yes. You're talking about the power of yes. I want to be very clear about what we're talking about here today. We're talking about today the power of yes. Now, what does that mean to me? That means I could say yes, 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 all I want. But there is a level of frequency, consistency, conviction, and responsibility that you're talking about. We have to hold this throughout all of these steps, don't we?
That's right. That's what commitment is all about. You commit, you'll be supported. There's no doubt. That's the power of yes with faith, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Say yes with faith and watch the magic happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't see it in the moment, but then when we look back, we go, oh yeah, the support was there all along, all the way through.
Yeah. Now,
So
I
let's
don't
move
know
to
if we'll talk about this today. I don't know if we'll talk about this today, but you've talked about it before. You have talked about the things that could have our yes lose some of its power. And we've talked about this before. But, the example you're using in the how, you're holding fast that trust, which means when you have trust, you don't have doubt. When you have faith, you don't have fear. And so let's just put an exclamation point on this as you go through the rest of the steps, because you have to have that. And you set it up front. You have to trust.
You have to trust. I was starting to get emotional when we were talking about that yesterday. Somebody commented on events that happened in the last year. It says, how come none of that shows on you? It was my dentist secretary, actually. So and I'm like, because there's that trust and there's that faith.
Yeah. I got the same thing. I got the same comment on, Pat, you look younger, but we know the year you had last year. We know what was going on with your best friend. We know you were helping somebody with a lawsuit. But what are you drinking? What are you putting in your water? But I think you've answered the question today.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about something none of us really do.
It's like
very
words
well.
We don't find the words to continue the sentences because the words don't make justice of the feeling, right?
They don't.
That is in your heart. That's right. And the gratitude. Okay, let's move. Let's move to the next one is the pilot. I love the pilot.
I love the pilot. And you know what? Anybody out there that thinks you don't have to do this, we're going to tell you to think again, aren't we?
Oh, the pilot is your superpower. It's the one that allows you to say yes and embrace opportunities without being so afraid of the results, because you're not committing on the long term, you're testing. So, but here's how the power of yes is exercised throughout the pilot. Throughout the pilot, you will receive invitations. So now it's not ideas. Now are opportunities, invitations from people, right? To do something, to join a joint venture, to act, to take action. So these are action opportunities. Again, I was reflecting on my life, how I ended up studying in high school. I went to a private school. How did I get there? My parents couldn't afford it because somebody said, oh, why don't you do a summer course just for fun as an extracurriculum activity? Because you have nothing to do in the summer. I was at the time 15. I said, of course, why not? I took that summer course out of fun and as enrichment, and they invited me to join their school. It was a private school. And then while I was in the last year of high school, they said, we have an opportunity if you want to study in university while you're studying in high school to take one course in university. Would you like to do that? I'm like, hell yes. It was a topic. It was genetics engineering. I loved it. So it's incredible how when you are in that test mode, one thing leads to another. One thing leads to another. I have so many examples. Even the first year of university, in the summer, I was working in a gas station to pay for my school. Somebody came to at that time we had people putting gas in your car, right? It wasn't like today. Somebody came to fuel their car, and I started talking to that man, and it turns out that he is the director of the university, and he says, oh, you're going to go to here. I said, hell yes. So, and from one leads to another, but that's beauty. You have a vision. My vision was I need to work to pay for school, and then you start with a pilot. My pilot was let's work in the gas station, and then one thing leads to another. It's magical. And you want to look back because everybody has examples like that, right? Yeah. You want to look back and acknowledge the magic. It will actually humble you. It humbles us to realize the support that is there all the way through. It's very humbling if you think about that. Yeah. And then we have, of course, the last step, the creation, the course correction. That too. these are opportunities, invitations to say yes. I'll give you an example of that. To say yes and to improve and take your craft to the next level. So this is when you're taking your craft to a complete different level. I'll give you an example of that. I was teaching by then the life coaching certification for several years, probably 4 years. And one of our graduates asked me, Gabriela, when are you going to teach us how to create a natural program so we can do group coaching? And yes, I will. And that's how the second course, the Upscale and Grow Your Impact, was born. We've been teaching it's a mentorship program. It's not a course. It's incredible. If you stay open to the opportunities to say yes, they're going to lead you to the next level.
I feel is one of the most important steps in this creation and correction, because if there was ever an opportunity to get derailed away from your yes, it may show up here. And what do I mean? Making sure we stand strong in the power of our yes, because sometimes things will pop and we will look at them not as course correction, not as creation, but we'll look at them as stumbling blocks. Let's just call it a challenge. And that is the point where your faith can be replaced by fear, and your trust can be replaced by doubt. But this is not the place for that to happen. Tell us about the power of the step and how it is strong in our guidepost.
Every challenge is the opportunity for what comes after. There is a yes after the challenge. You cannot see it. It's behind the wall is not a stop sign. You can feel the fear. It's okay. You can have your face shaking. It's okay. We're human. It humbles us too. But just remember, there is a yes behind the challenge. Now, are you going to go figure out what that is? Are you going to take the challenge and see what's behind the wall? Or are you going to stay in this side of the wall? That's a choice, right? We don't have the freedom of results. We have the freedom of choice. So that's the way I say it. Every challenge has a yes behind it. Yeah. Some yeses are, they're very easy for us to attract them. And for some, we kind of need to work a little bit and overcome certain challenges because they are at the next level of our journey. And we have to evolve to get there. We have to acquire certain virtues to get there. And sometimes people say, yeah, but I'm not attracting opportunities to say yes. I don't know what to say yes to. Nothing is coming my way, right? In other words, I feel stuck or frustrated that there's no flow of energy. Not a pleasant feeling. I've been there. We all been there. So that's also an indication that you have too many no's. Every time you can exercise the power of yes, it's because that's a sign that you need to exercise the power of no's. You are busy with too many no's. Your space is being taken by too many things you don't want to do. So there's no energetic, no physical, temporal space available for new opportunities to arrive. You don't even have the mental clarity to recognize maybe these opportunities. And that's when you say, okay, let's clean up first before I can receive the yeses. And the moment you decide to clean up, you will attract these opportunities. The universe will support you, will place you in very obvious and extreme situations where you have no choice but to say yes or declutter. Whether you are exhausted or burnt out and you have to say no to certain opportunities. Sorry, you have no choice to say no. Or you have to say no to the urge to spend money, or you have to cut expenses, or you have to declutter space, you'll be fit. If you don't do it out of choice, you'll do it out of no choice. But Again, if that's a challenge, on the other side of the wall, there are the opportunities for you to say yes. In your life. And then once you create that space, something has to fill it up. And these are the yeses and the opportunities that are waiting for you to let them in.
Yeah. There's never been a better example of this, Gabriela. If people haven't seen the movie Sully, there's never been a better example of these steps than when he goes through the process and they're telling him land at Teterboro. He says no. Land over here, and he says no. There's never been, to me, a better example of seeing how that works in a very short period of time that guided this individual to saying all the no's that he needed to say to get to his yes. And yet every day we are being asked to land our own ship somewhere. Whether you're a mom and have to decide on, do I take my child to daycare, or do I get this loan, or do I apply for school, or do I even get up? So what you just defined for people, especially in this last part, it is really a path to the power of yes, but also a path to freedom.
Oh, the path to freedom is also learning. We can't talk about the power of yes without talking about the power of no. And there's a lot of freedom on saying no. Yeah, we can have another episode on that. Lots of freedom on saying no, on simply even saying I'm not doing this anymore, just like that.
Yep.
People will understand.
Yep.
Yeah.
But thank you for today, because this is an example of everything you've ever brought here, everything you've ever taught to us, and breaking it down so we understand we're going to go through different challenges at different points in time. But what you've given us now is a blueprint that says, even if these things show up for you, here's what you can expect and here's what you can navigate.
That's right. And when you see a wall, put your bionic eyes and realize that there are a lot of yeses behind that wall.
Yeah. What's your personal message? And again, tell people how they can find out more about you. Thank you for this. This is exactly what I needed to hear today. How do we find out more about you? Thank you so much.
We are at coachingacademy.net.
Personal message. What do you want to leave us with here today?
I just want to say that sometimes for certain people, there's a lot of fear of saying yes, because there's a fear of saying yes to the wrong things. So I want to talk about that for a minute. If we have a minute, I'll just mention that, because that's important when it comes to saying yes. The fear of missing on better opportunities. Everything we say yes to is an opportunity. It's the opportunity for more clarity of what I want, opportunity of clarity of what I don't want, opportunity to discover new aspects of myself, to practice certain skills, to meet new people, to show what I know, who I am. Sometimes the opportunity we say yes to might not be the most aligned one, but it will be the one leading to a better one. So saying yes doesn't mean that I arrived to the final destination and that was the perfect thing to say yes. Sometimes getting there might take practice yeses, that each one will take you to the next step. Not everybody is ready to embody the end results right away. And that's why I love the engineering work, because it allows us to commit to the process. And if you commit to the process, you let go of the expectation that if you said yes to something, it has to be perfect. It is what it is to take you to where you want to go. Might be that itself the end result, or might not. Might be a middle point, a middle step. But if you fall in love with the process, then you let go of the expectations.
Gabriela, thank you so very much. Very, very powerful. Wow. Thank you, Emily. And thank you all for tuning us and turning us on. Please go back and listen to this, because there's a nugget in here for you to help you move forward on your vision and your dream and what you want in life. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
You have been listening to Life Engineering, processes that combine science, wisdom, and spirituality to create a life of alignment on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Join host Gabriela Embon and Dr. Pat every first and third Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific for bi-weekly wisdom nuggets on how to create your perfect synergy between your mind, body, and spirit in order to realize your true potential. For more information, visit Gabriela at coachingacademy.net.